Donald Trump continues to attack the Clinton Foundation as he changes his own stance on immigration. Libertarian nominee, meanwhile, Gary Johnson, is waging his own battle. He wants to get on the stage for the presidential debates, and that first debate is just a month away now, Chris. The Libertarian presidential nominee, Gary Johnson, joins us now. Governor, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for being here. You know, I had somebody in New Mexico tell me once, I said, I can't believe that this pay-to-play thing exists. I said, you know, we didn't do any of that as governor. And he said to me, he said, Gary, I know that. We all know that. It's never happened before, and it's never going to happen again.
But you're talking about the Clinton Foundation.
Yes.
What is so wrong about the Secretary of State meeting with major foreign leaders who have given to her husband's foundation?
Because there is an implication that when you give those donations that you will have access, and that's pay to play.
Here's your advantage. So the person who is attacking Clinton most for that right now is Donald Trump, a man who has openly acknowledged that he used that system, that he would give money, that he would do it to get access. So fundamentally, you have a great opening for a third-party candidate because you have one person who's being accused of pay for play, rightly or wrongly, by someone who wants to be a change agent who says they also played that game. So where do you fit in?
Well, that I am the third alternative here, that it never has existed, my having been in politics. I've never taken a penny from politics. I mean, this is to me, this is a higher calling. This is about being in a position to do the right thing. Before I ran for governor, I wondered, could you come from completely outside of politics? Could you be governor for one term or two terms and just be completely above board, meaning legislation comes to you, you either support it or you oppose it based on what is the best for, in this case, the citizens of New Mexico. And I have to tell you, good government was easy. It was possible to do that. And I did it the whole time in office. Now, I'm not saying others don't, in fact, do that same thing, but what I've seen, never having been involved in politics before, is that there is a big pay for play out there, that you give contribution, and contribution gives you access. It doesn't give you action on what it is that you propose, but it's access, and it's a constant feeding of that access. And that's also the other side of politics.
Right, but that's not illegal. The access isn't illegal.
No, it's not illegal. None of this is illegal. It's just that the implication and the fact that it is being paid and that it's unstated. Look, if you don't pay for that access, you don't get the access.
Illegal is also a strange standard to apply to politics. It would seem that we should have a higher bar than whether or not you go to jail for what you're doing while you're in office.
Well, and that's also the case here with the Clinton Foundation. And gee, we're going to disband the Clinton Foundation if Hillary's elected president, but it was okay while she was Secretary of State. I mean, when you watch the connections, gee, these agreements were signed after Bill. For the longest time, I wondered what these $500,000 speaking fees were that Bill was being paid for. And then, starting to link up, well, gee, here's the speaking fee and here's the agreement that was signed with the State Department shortly thereafter.
Right, but no proof has come out of quid pro quos yet.
No, there is.
But that is the suggestion, and that's the risk of when you get too close with your lines of attachment.
Right, and there is a quid pro quo. Is it an illegal line that got crossed over? No, nobody's going to get prosecuted for this because that's also the nature of this.
Let's talk about immigration. Donald Trump has changed his stance. He no longer thinks it's practical to deport every single one of the 11 plus.
No, but he still says that he wants to build a wall across the border. And really, he's not going to deport all 11 million. He's going to keep some. Look, we should embrace immigration. These are really hardworking people that are taking jobs that U.S. citizens don't want. So make a system, get a system in place, work visas that just make it easy to cross over the border. And with regard to the 11 million that are here, I mean, he's also talking about deporting them, but bringing them back. Look, they're here because they couldn't get across legally. And you or I would be doing the same thing if it were our families, and the fact that jobs exist. I can't get across the border, so the only way I can get those jobs is if I cross illegally. That's the reason for 11 million undocumented workers.
So President Johnson legalizes this, folks.
By legalizes, just set up a system whereby you can come into the visa office, And as long as you've been law-abiding, you'll get a work visa and you'll be allowed to stay.
How different is that than what we have right now?
Well, right now, they still remain undocumented. They're contributing. They're contributing mightily to the economy.
But they don't go to the office. The question is,
they don't go to the office.
There is a system set up right now where you can go in, say you want to work in America, and then you wait and get a chance for entry. People are taking it in their own hands and doing it illegally. Should they be rewarded for that?
No, not rewarded, but just recognize the reality of why it has happened and continues to happen. You can't get across the border legally. You and your family have needs. You can't get across legally. The jobs exist, so you cross illegally. You make it easy with a work visa program, and don't put government in charge of quotas. That's another broken down system. There'll either be jobs or there won't be jobs, and right now there's a reverse migration taking place because there are more jobs in Mexico than there is the United States, and illegal crossings of the border right now are like at a decade low right now.
The presidential debate is 1 month away. Your poll numbers are ticking up in the right direction.
They're ratcheting up, yes.
Here's the latest Fox News poll. You're at 12%. So I think that you need to hit 15%, they've said.
15 in 5 national polls that are picked by the committee.
Picked by the committee, and in those 5 polls, when they came out and announced that, which was a couple of weeks ago, our consensus number was 10. So we're kind of optimistic that this might actually happen. We're raising money in a way that, by comparison to Trump and Clinton, it's not their numbers, but it's enough money perhaps to launch into, to a name recognition campaign. 70% of Americans still don't know who I am. And I think that bodes well for actually winning the race at some point. I do. We still hold to the belief, me and Bill Weld hold to the belief that we might be the next president, vice president.
The last question is, the one that dogs the third-party candidate is the spoiler question. It's always been like that since the dynamic was created in America. You have been increasingly critical of both candidates, especially Trump. You come out and see him as disingenuous, as that he's trying to pull something over on the American people. Most of the tabulations show that you will draw more from Clinton than Trump. Is that something that is of any increasing concern to you, or you're still where you've always been, which is I'm for Johnson, whatever else happens, happens?
No, a wasted vote is voting for somebody that you don't believe in, and I'm halfway believing that as this gets really close to the election, are you going to waste your vote on Trump or Clinton when Johnson's out there as a pick, as a viable pick? That's what I'm holding to, Chris.
Governor Gary Johnson, thanks so much.
Thank
Great
you
to
so
have
much.
you here.
Always great. Always
to
fun. Thank you.
All right, Team Trump has been attacking Hillary Clinton with conspiracy theories about her health. What about Donald Trump's health?